Okay, so PlayStation 4 Slim and the Xbox One S, which one was and still is better? Firstly, you want to know that Xbox One S and the PlayStation 4 Slim, both mid-generation redesigns, are currently the standard hardware for their respective platforms. If you are dipping your toes in this generation of gaming for the first time today, your choice will likely come down to one of these two. While they offer similar experiences, both devices have their own strengths and weaknesses that could sway your decision. From specs to design to features to price, we've broken down every factor to help you decide between Xbox One S and the PlayStation 4 Slim. Well, here I'm gonna compare their games, their exclusive build quality, performance, designs, current compatibility, and all that. So stay tuned and don't miss them. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna talk about their design. Most of the noticeable difference between the original PlayStation 4 and the current refreshed hardware is the console design. At about 70% of the size, the new system features a redesigned chassis with rounded edges and a matte finish across the entire box, as opposed to the glossy, fingerprint-friendly surface that previously occupied much of the console's left side. The optical audio port and the auxiliary port have been removed to save space, and the troublesome touch sensors that control the disk drive and the power supply have been replaced with physical buttons. Well, the Xbox One S features a similar but more extreme set of changes, to the point where it resembles the original Xbox One in shape only. Well, it's a similar Xbox One than its predecessor, reportedly 40% smaller than the original Xbox One, where the Xbox One looked like the Batmobile of gaming consoles, dark, angular, and ominous. Well, the Xbox One S look a little bit more inviting with matte white finish, half of which is covered in small, aesthetically distinctive fan holes sitting on a charcoal grey foundation. Well, the power supply has been installed inside the console, so you won't need to deal with an unwieldy brick-type cable. Just like the PlayStation, some inconvenient touch-sensitive buttons will be turned into physical buttons and relocated in front of the console. Well, finally, the Kinect port has been removed, signaling Microsoft to move away from the Kinect program altogether. Both are upgrades from their previous iterations, well, featuring smaller, lighter designs, the removal of pixie touch sensors and matte finish on each, while still retaining the power and most of the internal components of the originals. So for the design, I'll go for both, but it all depends on your preference. Okay, so now let's talk about their performance and some of the features both are having. In addition to addressing some aesthetic issues with the original PlayStation 4's physical design, like the inconsistent touch-sensitive buttons and the glossy finish that proudly displayed dust and fingerprints as if they were child's artwork. Well, the PlayStation 4 has one major technical improvement with improved 5 GHz Wi-Fi compatibility. Those upgrading to the newer model should expect to see a more stable internet connection when downloading games and playing online. As with the original PlayStation 4, the newer system comes with HDR support, provided you have a compatible television. Unlike the Xbox One, the console hard drive is removable without voiding the warranty, and you can add additional storage space through an external drive. Microsoft took a different route with the Xbox One S. On top of the obvious size reduction and ergonomics improvement, the Xbox One S is being marked as a video file stream. The One S is an affordable 4K Blu-ray player, though the cost of a standalone player has gone down considerably since its release. Since you then have an additional Xbox on your shelf or entertainment center, however, the Xbox One S will save you valuable space. Assuming you have a television or a monitor capable of rendering images in such high resolutions, the console can also stream and select media in 4K, though the insane graphical fidelity doesn't extend to games. Certain titles feature HDR visuals, while the other games will upscale to 4K on televisions that can handle it. Well, the One S is a good deal if you are just buying a to-play Blu-ray, combined with the fact that it has hundreds of apps and that it plays Xbox games. Its relatively cheap price tag is beyond reasonable. Neither console boasts any notable improvement in terms of the actual game performance. For this, you'll need to pick the more powerful PS4 Pro or the Xbox One S instead, but the Xbox One S wins for the performance. Okay, so there are games. Over the years, there are tons of great releases, a lot of which are on both systems, and it's worth pointing out that some of those games run at their lower native resolution or even lower frame rates on the Xbox as compared to the PlayStation 4. Though there are few exceptions where the Xbox One comes out ahead. On the flip side though, the Xbox One S supports up to 4K upscaling and HDR in some select games. Well, more important though is of course exclusives. Both systems got a whole of them now, and I'm going to share some few of the greatest. We've got the God of War 2018 and Ragnarok for the PlayStation 4. Well, though the God of War 2018 is now on the PC, and well, that's Microsoft Windows, but it's still not an Xbox, so sorry. We've got Forza for the Xbox, we got Halo also for the Xbox, and we got Sunset Overdrive, well, another one for the Xbox. We got Horizon Zero for the PlayStation, Last of Us, Uncharted. You see, there are plenty of great exclusives on both systems. Well, but the Xbox One S side does have a habit of being on PC as well, which is going to now be the case of all the upcoming Xbox One games. So if you got a powerful PC gaming rig and you just want to look out for console for exclusives, well, the PlayStation 4 Slim is the better option. Now for their price. You see, the 1TB PlayStation 4 Slim retails for $300 occasionally if you can find a bundle with a game or two thrown in. Well, Microsoft on the other hand seems to really like bundling its Xbox One S with games. The all-digital edition of the Xbox One S goes for $250, but it's a worse value overall. Although both systems are around the same price, well, you might have an easier time finding an Xbox One S currently, as the PS4 Slim has gone in and out of stock for quite some time now. Well, here are some of the specs comparison for both, and for a little more insight of the technical performance. Well, for the specs, with that of the Xbox One S, the size dimension is 19.6 by 11.5 by 4.5 inches, and that of the PlayStation 4 is 10 by 11 by 1.5 inches. While with their weight is 6.4 pounds, and that of the PlayStation 4 is a bit lighter and is 4.6 pounds. And with their processor, the Xbox One X is having 1.75 GHz AMD Jaguar 8-core, and that of the PlayStation 4 is 8-core AMD Jaguar. Almost similar, but the GPU for the Xbox One S is having 1.4 teraflops and 12 compute units, and that way the PlayStation 4 is 1.84 teraflops, an AMD Radeon graphics core Next Engine. And with their memory for both of them is 8GB, and that of the PlayStation 4 is GDDR5 RAM, and that of the Xbox is DDR3 RAM. And with their built-in hard drive, for that of the Xbox is 2TB hard drive, and that of the PlayStation 4 is 1TB hard drive. Yeah, and the input-output, both of them have USB 3.0 times 2, and with that of the Xbox have an aux input as well. So yeah, we got a controller for the Xbox includes Bluetooth connectivity and improved wireless range, and that of the PlayStation 4 is also having the Bluetooth plus a 1000 milliamps power plus a 6-axis motion as well. And then we have the camera, the optical drive, both of them are having almost similar. And that of the 4K compatibility, for Xbox One S we have the 4K video streaming and HDR support for some selected titles, and with that of the PlayStation 4 we have HDR support for some selected titles as well. Okay, so yeah, that was the specs and some small insights of the technical background. So now let's take a look at their controller ergonomics. You see, the light bar on the back of the PlayStation 4 controller shines through the touchpad on the controller's face, so battery life indicators and the other uses for the light bar are easier to read. The D-pad and the analog sticks also got some new comfortable rubber grip, and the controller itself, it's a shade lighter in color. On the other hand, the Xbox One S controller also features improved wireless range and Bluetooth connectivity, which will be more popular feature among gamers that want to connect their controller to a PC. And a 3.5mm headphone jack was added to offset the Connect port removal, as well as a textured grip to make the controller feel more comfortable. Separately, Microsoft also introduced the Xbox Design Lab, a new service that allows you to create a controller with a custom color scheme for only $80. While it doesn't have that technical improvement of the Xbox One Elite controller, pretty cool to have a unique controller with your favorite colors and your gamer tag engraved at the front. Though out of the box, you still have to use the AA batteries with any version of the Xbox controller. While this can be mitigated by inserting a battery pack and charging cable, it's still an inconvenience to have to buy a separate accessory in order to charge, while the DualShock 4 is rechargeable out of the box. In looking at both controllers themselves, the newer Xbox One S gamepad is excellent, featuring comfortable triggers and an overall weight and shape that feels good in your hands. Well, though it's hard to overlook the fact that it requires batteries by default, but because of that, when looking at the price, the DualShock 4 comes out on top. If the price doesn't matter, then we recommend the Xbox One S controller. Well, with me, my take, the Xbox One S controller wins over here in this category. Okay, so with the winner, both consoles and incredibly high-tech or ultra modern. struggling, well, as compared to this current gen. The recent PlayStation 4, for example, is more powerful than the Xbox One, but it doesn't contain any special features to set it apart. The Xbox One S is a little bit more limited in terms of the storage and the gameplay, but it does include a 4K Blu-ray player that makes it stand out in comparison. Power capabilities aside, the PlayStation 4 has a crucial advantage over the Xbox One in that it has a significantly more exclusive games. Well, after all, the video game console's primary purpose is to provide players with many video games as possible. Sony's first-party and second-party output has dwarfed Microsoft this generation. So if you never want to run out of games to play, the PlayStation 4 Slim is the system to get. Well, on the other hand, the Microsoft hardware device can't compete with Sony, and they will have to step up in the production of their games and exclusives in order to level out Sony's. Well, the bottom line is that you'll get your money worth with either of these consoles, but they both feel like a stopgap solutions to keep them in the public eye while working on newer. Well, currently there are more powerful consoles like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series S and the X version. So if you want to get most of the enjoyment out of your console in the past gen, well, I recommend the PlayStation 4 Slim due to the extensive game library alone. Alright, so that's it for now. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like these. Bye for now.